I froze, my entire body stiffening as his calloused palm cupped me firmly. The heat radiating from his hand seeped through the thin fabric of my V-neck shirt, sending an electric shock straight down my spine. My mind was a chaotic mess. I should have pushed him away. I should have opened my eyes and yelled at him, or at least rolled back over to Lily. But the shame of acknowledging what was happening kept my eyes clamped shut, feigning a deep sleep. And beneath that shame was a terrifying, thrilling curiosity. My sex addiction, the one I had fought so hard to suppress with work and therapy, was roaring to life. The phantom sensations I'd fantasized about for months were suddenly, shockingly real. His hand didn't move away. Instead, he gave a gentle, exploratory squeeze. A soft, involuntary gasp slipped past my lips before I could bite it back. I quickly turned it into a sleepy mumble, nuzzling my face further into his chest to hide my burning cheeks. His heart was hammering against my ear, a rapid, heavy rhythm that matched my own. Emboldened by my lack of resistance, Marcus's fingers became bolder. He slipped his thumb past the edge of my deep neckline, brushing against the bare skin of my cleavage. The contrast between his rough skin and my sensitive flesh made me shudder violently. The train swayed again, a long, rocking motion that ground my hips directly against his massive, straining erection. He groaned quietly, his hips thrusting up instinctively to meet mine. It was madness. Lily was right there, sleeping soundly just inches behind my back. If she woke up, if she opened her eyes and saw her boyfriend's hand inside my shirt, my life would be over. I would lose my cousin, my best friend. But the danger only seemed to fuel the fire consuming my body. The taboo nature of it all, the confined space, the sleeping cousin, the sheer size and heat of the man beneath me. It was a potent, intoxicating cocktail that short-circuited my rational mind. I felt his other hand slide down my back, tracing the curve of my spine before resting heavily on my hip. His fingers dipped under the hem of my short skirt, the cool air of the train compartment washing over my heated skin before being replaced by the searing warmth of his touch. I was soaked, so incredibly wet that I felt embarrassed, hoping he wouldn't notice just how much his simple touches were affecting me. But he did. His fingers brushed against the lace edge of my panties, and I felt him hesitate for a fraction of a second. Then, with agonizing slowness, he slipped a single finger underneath the fabric. I bit down on his t-shirt to muffle the moan that tore from my throat. He was so warm, and his touch was surprisingly gentle despite his imposing size. He stroked me lightly, finding the slick, swollen nub that was begging for attention. Every movement of the train seemed to amplify the sensation, rocking me against his hand. I was hyperventilating, my breath coming in short, shallow gasps against his chest. I couldn't take it much longer. The friction, the heat, the overwhelming scent of his cologne mixed with the musky smell of his arousal. It was pushing me over the edge. I tentatively, almost shyly, let the hand that was resting near his waist slide downward. I felt his entire body tense as my fingers brushed against the thick, straining bulge in his sweatpants. It was immense, hot, and pulsing with blood. I hesitated, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst from my chest. Then, I heard him whisper, so faintly I barely caught it over the rumble of the train. "Claire," his voice was thick with need, a raspy plea that shattered the last of my restraint. I wrapped my hand around him over the fabric, squeezing gently. He let out a sharp hiss of breath, his hips bucking upward into my hand. He moved his finger faster against me, the slick sound of his touch masked by the rhythmic clacking of the train wheels. I was spiraling, lost in a haze of pure, unadulterated pleasure. I arched my back, pressing myself deeper into his hand, silently begging for release. Just as the pressure began to build to a breaking point, the train suddenly lurched violently. The screech of metal on metal echoed through the car as the brakes were applied with brutal force. The sudden deceleration threw me forward, smashing my face into Marcus's shoulder. His hands were ripped away from my body as he instinctively braced himself against the wall to keep us from rolling off the bunk. Behind me, Lily let out a startled shriek as she woke up, crashing into